You are now tuned into the Selflessly Selfish podcast, where best practices are shared to help you improve self-care and live a balanced life of joy, love, and abundance. I am your host, profoundly unforgettable, the resource you seek, Master Life Coach Teresa Webb, here to encourage, motivate, edify, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Welcome back, those of you that are returning, and welcome those of you that are joining me for the first time, and those listening via Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thank you again for allowing me in your space today. Today is episode 10, and I am so excited because we are going to be discussing 5 tips to help you end negative self-talk. Now, before we get started, I want to first take a moment to welcome those of you that are joining me for the first time to the Selflessly Selfish podcast family. The podcast was created and designed for individuals to provide tips to help you practice better self-care, to help you focus on yourself so that you would be able to be there for others consistently. Because, of course, we can't give from an empty cup or give what we don't have. It's important that we learn to practice self-care for ourselves and then extend that to others. Now, let's get started. I'm so glad again that you allowed me in your space today, and I want to share 5 tips to help you end negative self-talk. When you're feeling under pressure or like you're in over your head, what is it that you are saying to yourself? Are you speaking negative or are you speaking positive? And that's what we're going to start with today. I can recall several years ago driving my daughter to school, and I would see people running or jogging, and I thought to myself that I wanted to do that someday. And I never thought that I would be to the point where I could go for, I said jog because I didn't think it was possible to run. And one day I decided to work out with my daughter, who was actually former track and field. And I don't know why I chose to share that with her, but she decided to go for a run and I joined her. And on this run, I thought I was about to just give out. And she started saying to me, I'm laughing because it's funny. She started saying to me, "You got this. Come on, you a marathon runner." And I'm thinking to myself, what? But she kept saying it so many times. And then she asked me to repeat after her. She was like, "Say it. You're a marathon runner. Come on, you got this. You're a marathon runner." And before you know it, I started saying that I was a marathon runner, knowing good and well I wasn't. But because I kept reciting that to myself, I'm a marathon runner, I was able to keep going. And before I knew it, I had reached the end of our marker. And I was able to complete the full run, all because she simply started reciting, "You got this. You're a marathon runner." Because my mind was telling me that you need to stop. You're about to give out of gas. You're about to lose your breath. This is impossible. And what I did is I allowed my mindset, my brain to shift. And I started reciting that to myself, that you got this, that I was a marathon runner and I was able to complete the run. That's what I want you to think about. Whenever you're in a situation and you feel the negative thoughts come in, you got to have something positive on the spot that you can put in place of it. And you're going to say it as many times until you start to believe it and you're able to take action and you're able to move in the direction that you need to go. The 5 tips that I wanted to discuss with you and also allow you to see just how important it is to speak positive words to yourself. We shouldn't be saying anything to ourselves that we wouldn't say to anyone that we loved and care about. And the reason I say that, because I'm not sure if you know this, studies show that in order to dispel the negative, you must insert a positive. And by the way, I want you all to go and check out one of my previous videos. It's on the power of a positive mindset. And what I want to add now is, did you know that in order to dispel one negative comment, one negative statement, it takes about five positive statements or comments to dispel that one negative? That's how important it is for us not to speak negativity into ourselves or into our friends, children's, loved ones, anyone that you love and care about. We should not be, that's not something that we want to do. And so therefore, that's the reason why when I started to go on the run with my daughter and I kept running, I felt like I was going to give out and I kept running. But she had to keep saying those positives to me because my mind was telling me something else. It was telling me to stop. You can't do this. You're going to give out of breath. This is dangerous. All sorts of negative things that wasn't going to allow me to complete my goal of finishing the run. And she had to repeat it several times and then ask that I do the same. Because again, it doesn't matter how much someone else believes something for you. Until you believe it and you embrace it and you accept it for yourself, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to believe in yourself. You got to do it for yourself. And I believe that it's possible. We just have to make a conscious effort and decision that we will no longer speak negativity to ourselves and to others. We're going to remove the negative beliefs, the negative concepts that we've had in place. Now we're going to work towards inserting positives. And again, keep in mind, it's going to take at least five positive statements, words, affirmations to dispel that one negative comment or statement, to dispel that one negative belief. So that's something that you can do now. If you have your journal that you're keeping, if you have that, when the negative comment or statement comes up, don't try to ignore it or block it out. You're going to move to the positive statements. Yes, you've acknowledged that negative is there. And now you're moving to the positive statement. And you're starting to repeat those beliefs. You're starting to incorporate that. You're practicing it. That's the only way that we're going to dispel the negative. We're going to have to make this a daily effort and practice positive affirmations, positive beliefs. That's one. To dispel the one negative, you're going to insert 5 positive beliefs, positive affirmations in its place. Second, what type of faith base or spiritual foundation are you building these beliefs on? You want to have something in place that you can recite and state to yourself, something that's going to be powerful enough to pull you back into motion, to pull you back into action. And for myself, I've decided to be happy because I understand that happiness is usually based on a situation or circumstance. I incorporated an ending to the statement. I've decided to be happy no matter what. And that means regardless of what's going on in my life, I've made a conscious decision that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to look at that situation, no matter how difficult it is, and I got to find the silver lining. I have to tell myself that I know that all things are working together for my good, because scripture tells me that. To him that loves the Lord, I know that I love the Lord. And not only am I called, but I'm chosen. And if we're called to do the work of God, we have to know that we've been equipped with everything we need to fulfill our purpose, to fulfill that calling. So everything that I'm experiencing and everything that you're experiencing and everything that you're going through, It has to work together for your good. And the only way that you are going to adopt that belief and that mindset is it's going to have to be something that you're practicing daily. Number 3, what's your mantra? What's your slogan? What's your motto? Mine, of course, I've stated, was I've decided to be happy no matter what. Come up with something that you're going to say to yourself when you feel those negative beliefs trying to creep in. When you're faced with difficult situations and things, you're starting to feel overwhelmed. Come up with a mantra for yourself that you can recite, that you can state to yourself. And you're going to recite that and you're going to state it until you can move yourself in the direction that you are trying to go. And I'm going to back it up a little bit because I also mentioned number 2 being what type of spiritual or faith foundation are you establishing your beliefs upon? And again, you want to have scriptures. You want to have something that you can put in place that's going to build you up, that's going to give you the confidence that you need to walk this thing out. So we've had number 1, we're going to dispel the negative and replace a positive. And we are now aware that in order to dispel one negative statement, it's going to take 5 positives. Number 2, what faith-based or spiritual foundation are you building your belief system upon? Number 3, what's your motto? What's your mantra? What's your slogan? What is it that you're saying to yourself when you start to feel overwhelmed, when you're under pressure? What is it that you can say to yourself that's going to allow you to lock in, to position yourself to focus and get the job done? Number 4, whose voice are you hearing during these difficult times? What voice? What voice are you hearing? Is it that voice that said to you that this is impossible, that you're not able to do this, that it can't be done? Or is it a voice that's telling you to go for it, that you got this, and that if it has been done, that means it can be done? That's why we're inserting the 5 positives, because those positive statements, those positive beliefs, your positive affirmations, it's going to have to be so powerful enough that it's going to silence all the negativity. It's going to silence the noise. So the positive statements that you've incorporated, if it's not allowing you to move in that direction, then you're going to need to revamp. And you may have to think on it a little bit more. What is it that inspires you? What is it that empowers you? What's the one thing, person, time, or place that you've known that you've been able to do those things and do them effortlessly? That's where you want to start. That's where you want to build. Lastly, you know how they say, maybe I'm making this up, I don't know, but I've heard it somewhere that every superhero, everyone, what's your theme song? What's your fight song? What's the one song that you can play when you're feeling some type of way or you're in a mood? What's the one song that you can play and it's going to allow you to get the job done? It's going to allow you the confidence and the courage that you need to continue on. It's going to allow you to finish the race, to finish the course. What song is that? You got to have a song. Sometimes, even before I start some of the podcasts, I like to listen to certain music. I like to listen to certain songs because it brings about an energy that gives me the confidence that I need to come on here. And those of you that are watching or those of you that are listening, so that I can speak to you and I'll be okay with knowing that the world is watching me, the world is seeing me. I love it so much that I'm willing to take the necessary steps and measures needed for me to move forward. I'm willing to dispel those negative concepts and beliefs that, you know the ones I'm talking about, where you're checking your stats, you're checking your numbers every day. You want to know who's watching, who's listening. And if you don't get the response that you feel that's needed, that negative mindset will try to creep in, and it'll cause you to want to stop, to not want to complete your task, to complete your assignment, to walk in your purpose. Because now we've become distracted. And that negative mindset is overpowering the positive that we've built, that we've established. And that's what's not an option. That's definitely not an option. You have to decide today that I'm going to dispel the negative. I am going to practice positive mindset, positive affirmations, and for every negative that I've released, I've now input a positive affirmation, a positive statement. I have a mantra that I'll recite to myself that's going to allow me to move my life in the direction that it needs to go. I hope this helped you today. I hope that I've said something today that's going to encourage, inspire, motivate, and empower you to embrace the importance of ending the negative self-talk. But understand that you are worthy, that you've got this, that you can do this, and begin to celebrate yourself. No matter how big or how small the accomplishment, the wins, you got to celebrate it all, because the more you do that, the more that you can do that, the more that you can celebrate the wins, the more that you can celebrate the accomplishments, the more you're going to want to complete them. I thank you for your time today. I thank you for allowing me in your space. This journey thus far has been wonderful. I hope that you continue on. I hope that you share the podcast. Remember to comment. I'd like to know if anything that I'm saying, if it's resonating with you, and if there's any other topics that you'd like for me to discuss, put them down below in the comments. Those of you that are listening via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you would do me the favor, rate the podcast, give a thumbs up, let me know that you're enjoying this. Thank you again for allowing me in your space. I'm profoundly unforgettable, the resource that you seek, Master Life Coach Teresa Webb, here to encourage, motivate, edify, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Remember to stay hopeful and take action.